This smells so bad, it can literally cause you to faint and die. And the shocking thing is, you won't even be able to smell it. This is Muck, the Sludge Pokémon. Most people are quick to dismiss it because it obviously couldn't exist in our world. However, reality is weirder than most people realize. So today, I'll show you how Muck could exist and what it would mean for ecosystems worldwide. According to the Pokédex, Muck are thickly covered in a filthy viral sludge. Even the trail they leave behind contains poison. The species has grown so accustomed to the stench of sludge and anything repugnantly filthy, which has become their favorite food, that they have completely lost their sense of smell. To this extent, the toxic substances in their bodies have become more intense without limit. Muck live in warm and humid habitats and smell most strongly in the summertime. Many people across the world have noticed that foliage dies if muck are passing by. The Alolan government has invested heavily in the extermination of muck due to their tendency to carry deadly pathogens. If muck are covered in sludge, what's hiding underneath? How can anything not only survive but also thrive on little rubbish? Why does rubbish always smell so bad, especially when it's warm? Today, we're going to consider all these questions and more as we try to determine how muck manages to live on human waste. Luckily for us, we only need to look as far as the vulture to get an idea of how a living organism can survive on what would be poisonous to most other animals. You see, the vulture actually thrives on rotting flesh. If something rots, there could be all sorts of dangerous pathogens such as bacteria and fungi that are responsible for the rotting. This is where the vulture's stomach acid plays a critical role. Their stomach acid is just as strong as battery acid and is among the strongest in the entire animal kingdom. Their acid is strong enough to kill practically any pathogen that can be thrown at it. So, this gives us our first reality check. Animals can eat what most would consider trash. After all, one animal's trash is another animal's treasure. Wait, there's more. This is Gloria Ramirez, also known as the Toxic Lady. In 1994, just over 30 years ago, this 31-year-old woman was rushed into a hospital in California, only to die about half an hour later. However, this was not before she somehow managed to poison 23 of the members of staff attending to her in her final moments with some kind of gas that leaked out of her body. One of the workers had to be hospitalized for weeks before fully recovering. You can read more about this incredible story in the description below. Although this is one of the most debated mysteries in forensic science, it is a testament to the fact that smell alone can cause fainting. Nobody died from smelling the gas, but that doesn't mean it's not possible if the dose is high enough. This is hydrogen sulfide. This tiny compound is so deadly that one breath is enough to kill any human. You may have heard that it can be produced when eggs are overcooked or left to rot. Of course, the amount is so low, you simply recognize it as a bad smell. Hydrogen sulfide is released from sewage, natural gas, and manure, and is very quickly absorbed into the lungs. It also damages the central nervous system, which includes the brain and important networks of nerves in the body. Inhaling a certain concentration of hydrogen sulfide in the air causes a loss in the ability to smell. If the concentration is too high, it quickly spirals out of control. Farmers who enter manure pits without protective gear can instantly die due to the combination of extremely high levels of hydrogen sulfide and low levels of oxygen. This is our second reality check. There is a gas called hydrogen sulfide that smells bad at low concentrations but can cause fainting and even death at higher doses. What do I mean by dose anyway? You may have heard that the dose makes the poison. But what does it mean? Could things like water be poisonous too, depending on the dose? Firstly, the term dose simply refers to the concentration or level of a substance that we consume. For example, this magnesium supplement I'm taking has a dose of 200 milligrams per tablet. If I wanted a bigger dose, I could take 2 tablets together, or I could take from a container that contains 400 milligrams per tablet. Suppose I took 10 tablets all at once though. The reason that would be referred to as an overdose, literally I'm going over the correct dose, is because the organs in my body would not be able to cope with that amount of substance, in this case magnesium. Now, let's say there is a tiny bit of poison in the soil and grass is growing over that soil. The dose of the poison is not high enough to cause effects immediately, but then a cow comes and starts to graze on the grass all day. After grazing on the grass for years, the cow dies at the age of 8 rather than the typical age of 20 or so. This is because the poison was slowly building up in the cow until it became dangerously high in dose and killed the cow. Also, any animal that is a predator of the cow, let's say a coyote, would get this high dose of poison if they ate the cow. Now, this poison can oftentimes be a heavy metal like mercury. With that, we can state our last reality check. Anything can be a poison at a high enough dose. I'm really curious what is beneath all that slime. According to the Pokédex entries from Red and Blue, muck are described as being covered in toxic slime rather than being slime itself. This is a subtle but important distinction. Grimer's Pokédex entries, particularly in Pokémon Stadium, suggests that they are sludge transformed by exposure to X-rays from the moon. Muck, by contrast, appear to be more structured organisms, ones that produce, carry, or accumulate slime rather than simply existing as it. However, it would appear that there are two conflicting mechanisms for how Grimer came to be. One suggests that they are made of irradiated sludge, while the other suggests they are made from sludge in the sea. However, some of you would already know that there is a problem with the first option, as X-rays are blocked by the Earth's atmosphere. This means this is likely a conspiracy theory to spread disinformation to hide the fact that nobody really knows where Grimer or Muck came from. At any rate, they would need a way to generate the hydrogen sulfide that causes loss of smell, fainting, and death. If you look closely at the sludge, you will notice that it is rather rubbery. This much we can gather from Grimer's Pokémon Yellow entry. So the sludge effectively acts like a kind of skin. Practically, muck must be made of something exotic like extremophilic bacteria that can withstand extremely acidic conditions, live with heavy metals such as lead and cadmium, and digest things that other Pokemon are not able to. How can a living organism live on trash though? Easy. There are many examples of such creatures. A lot of them fall in the category of detritus feeders, meaning they feed on waste and debris. There are worms that eat dung and help soils become more fertile. Deep-sea creatures that eat the debris and waste that falls from above them. Wait, I think I know. Something snow. Yes, marine snow. I already mentioned the vulture. Come on though, that's not actual trash. I mean, like plastic bottles, metal cans, polystyrene foam, that kind of thing. Alright, Animals eat those too. The bacteria called Ideonella sakaiensis evolved in a Japanese recycling facility to break down and digest PET plastic in bottles. Other strains of bacteria can digest other kinds of plastic, such as the polyethylene in the shopping bags. Of course, plastics still have a carbon backbone, which might explain why these bacteria have adapted their enzymes to work on plastics when they used to work on natural plant oils. So, what about metals, which are completely inorganic? Surprisingly, there is another bacteria called Cupriavidus metallidurans, which can process toxic heavy metal compounds such as gold and copper compounds. Is it true that muck smell worse during the summer? Any kind of smell would get stronger in warmer air. This is because of how smells work. First of all, the reason you smell anything is because of diffusion. Diffusion is the movement of particles from an area where they are highly concentrated and close together to where they are not. Now, in warm air, the particles move faster because they have more energy. Furthermore, there's more space between the particles. This means the particles spread out from each other more quickly. Meanwhile, the number of scent molecules leaving Muck's body would increase due to the increased rate of evaporation at higher temperatures. Finally, your nose actually becomes more responsive at higher temperatures. All of these effects combine to make the scent not only stronger but more deadly. What if Muck showered? Come again? I'm serious. What if it rained heavily and Muck was not under any protection from it? Interesting. What's your point? That concentrated concoction of poison, germs, and death will mix with the rainwater and kill anything that swims. Oh, you're absolutely right. What an alarming discovery. We better report it to the news networks at once. I assume there are already countermeasures in place. No. Wait, so are you being serious? Muck are seriously a problem, yes. What are we going to do about it? Well, we need to get rid of Muck. Yes, yes! I was being sarcastic. They're not completely bad. After all, they are effectively trapping all the waste and toxic chemicals that would otherwise be released into the ecosystem. Oh, they're like trees that capture carbon. Yeah, so now that cities are becoming cleaner, mock populations are decreasing, which is counterintuitively making those sustainability initiatives appear worse than what they were doing before. Counterintuitive results are so annoying. It's like when you put so much effort into a YouTube video, only for it to get almost no views. Oh, what a smell! I hope my food. It's a mock! Take cover! Alola has taken drastic measures to reduce its population of mock. At the same time, mock have been genetically modified to work alongside humans to more effectively combat the region's waste problem. As a result, Alola has received all kinds of awards for cleanliness. People all over the world visit Alola to drink unfiltered water from their springs. Now, Alola has spearheaded the introduction of Alolan muck across the world. Of course, they are still dangerous and can inflict grievous bodily harm just from a single scratch, but they have been successfully used in places like Paldea and Kanto. It might appear sensible to burn the mock after they have served their duties, but this would release noxious gases that would spread 150 kilometers in every direction. For this reason, the burning of mock has been banned. Although mock release chemicals anyway, they are much more manageable as the slime acts as a kind of shield around it, inhibiting the loss of volatile molecules. Muck are more than living puddles. They are likely a colony of extremophilic bacteria wrapped in a rubbery skin-like layer of toxic sludge. They can release deadly gases and poison ecosystems, yet they can also help humanity and those same ecosystems by absorbing waste into their bodies. Since Muck love trash, this Pokemon needs to be careful.